Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Deborah, and today I'm going to do my take on Juni Desiree's tag sheet that she does. Now what Juni does, and you can go and watch the video, I'll put a link to it, is she takes a piece of manila paper, manila cardstock, which I've got. She takes a pre-existing tag and she uses this as a template to draw the tags on and then cuts them out and then puts stuff on them. So I'm going to do my quick and dirty version today. I'm starting with some PVA glue because I still haven't gone and got my glue stick, but hopefully I'll get time to pop to the shops today or tomorrow and get that. And I'm just spreading that on over the top of the file folder because, you know, I don't have any patience to be doing this individually. So I thought I'd just do it all at once. And now I've got pieces of paper and I'm just going to start randomly tearing them and popping them on. It's a bit like Tetris, I think. Put them in different directions and they're either going to go this way, so the writing is this way, or so the writing will be vertical, because that's about the best I can do given my propensity for not having things crooked on angles. So sorry about that, but can't do it any other way. So I'm just cutting it into, or tearing them into, little pieces, and I've got various bits of book page, and I'm probably trying to keep them, you know, rectangular or square or whatever it is you want to call it. I don't care if I overlap the edges. I also have this cute little thing like this. This is a little one on exercise. It's a very old exercise book, so you can see you've got your little man exercising away there. So when I start cutting this up, I need to make sure that I'm keeping within the boundaries in terms of what I want on the tag, because that's, I guess, the difference if you do it like this versus the way that Juni does it, where, you know, she places these stuff on her work afterwards. I'm doing mine before, so that is why it's probably going to be a little bit more time consuming when I'm cutting it up as opposed to now. I'll pop this one up here, and I've got this one here. This is an old piece of vintage paper as well. Let's see if that would go in there if I tear it off, and I'll get the maximum thing. Now I don't care if I'm missing some pieces of it, it doesn't matter to me because I will be filling it in. This is like the base, it's only the base portion. So as I work through it and put things on it, I will then come back and I will be doing, you know, putting pieces over the top of this just to form the base is what I'm doing now. So I find that this would be the easiest in terms of not having to do them individually. Although the file folder doesn't probably like the PVA very much, but it is what it is at the moment. It's what I've got, and therefore it's what I'm using. I want something for in there and nothing seems to be fitting very well for me. I might have to grab some more book page. Well, there's this little bit here. I can do this one. Pop that in there for now. See what else I've got on my table to use. I've got this one. This is the old one I got the other day. Again, I'll pull a page out of here and use it. Chop bits of this up. This will be interesting to have like a row of words on my tag. Now I've got some stuff from that magazine. I've still got a few things lying on the table from yesterday. I've been really busy the rest of yesterday and this morning. I've been doing a lot of work listing things on my Etsy shop, and that has really been taking up my time, which is fine. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's time consuming to do it all and get everything, you know, where you want it to be. Let's see what else I've got here. I've got this little exam test thing. I could put some of that up in that corner, couldn't I? Okay, I've got the top half done. Now I'll add some more PVA. I'll probably just do one side because I've got the air conditioning on and that tends to dry things out a bit quicker than what I would like. We seem to be hurtling towards Christmas, which is always a busy time of the year, I guess, and I also have a birthday next week, so that's even always busier for me and my family. Multiple celebrations happening, of course. Just want to put some, what else do I need? I'll get some of this and some of the book page from the Italian book, and I've got this little bit here as well. I might put that up this way so I don't end up with too many things all the same direction. I'm just using this old credit card, or actually it's not a credit card, but you know what I mean. You can use credit cards and all sorts of different, any plastic card that you've got, a store card or whatever. They all work quite well for this sort of thing. I'm probably getting a bit too big now. I need to try and keep the pieces small. I think the smaller the better. See if I can pop something in there, maybe a few little words like this. Actually, I'll turn it the other way. So we've got some variation. And then this little bit of book page can pop down here. And I do think that it's working quite well. I think that's enough. I've got a fair coverage on there. I just need to let it dry a little bit and then I can start chopping it up. But you know, me being very impatient, I'm probably not going to let that happen. So what I'm going to do is take my card, because this will give me an idea of how wide I want things to be. Now, I'm not going to put it down all over. I'm just going to work out that this one up here, now if I chop it through there, I want to see what sort I get on these pages. Okay, I'm just going to take it across a tiny bit and put a line down here. And then this one I'm going to divide into 3. So I'll probably work out where 3 is that's good for me. I just want to maximize the randomness of it. And then on this one down here, I'm going to take this the rest of the way across that line, because that's looking pretty good. And then I'm going to divide it down here, so I have a smaller tag, 2 smaller tags there. And then on the top one, because that'll come to about there, I'm going to do a tag here. So I'll pull the line down here, and then I'm probably going to do 2 thicker tags across here. Just divide them up. I'll go and cut this up and we'll see what it looks like. So here they all are, all chopped up. They don't look like much at the moment, but we'll see how we go when we get them down. Now there are a few little bits I need to stick down properly, and also I now need to take my tag and I will put it up here, and I'm just going to use my scissors. You'll see what Juni does as she goes through and she draws all these lines, but I'm too impatient to do that. So that will just be the base, and I'll be working on this some more in a moment. I'll start to put a pile of them over here. So even where you've got little ones that aren't as wide as the tag, just line the top and the side up and then move your tag across to the other side so you can cut this piece off, so you get that nice angle. And if they're thicker or wider than the tag you've got, then that's okay too. You can just move it. It doesn't really matter what size the tag ends up in terms of width or height, because you're just going to go through and make them into that tag shape. I'll probably do it on the back so I don't get confused, because some of these aren't cut or the papers are sticking off the top of them. And also it is a little bit wet. So you can see this tag is roughly the same size, a bit wider, but it's not too much wider. And this one is like skinny. So I purposely cut them in different sizes to get the different sizes out of them rather than having them all the same. So that's all of that one. And then before I did the rest of them here, I'll show you these ones. I haven't cut them up yet. These ones I use slightly bigger pages. That's why I think it's better, slightly bigger, you know, spots that I've torn. I think it's probably better to go with the smaller papers. I think you'll probably get a nicer look. I like that look better for me, but personal preference is up to you what you want to do. Apologise for my voice today. I've had a bit of asthma in the last week. I really don't like the Christmas time very much, and we've had lots and lots of rain, and that really hasn't been helping, because you know, when I get a lot of rain, when there's a lot of rain, although I love the rain, it actually isn't great for my lungs, and my asthma starts to play up terribly. Does not like it at all. I'm guessing I've probably got about 15 tags out of that one sheet. I'll count them in a minute so I know for sure. There's one more. Yep, one more little bit down here. Okay, I think that's all I did. Yep, it looks to be. So we'll push the rubbish aside and have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I wasn't bad. 16, not 15. So I've got 16 tags out of one file folder as my base pieces. And now I want to move on and do the next step. So I'm going to start with this one. And I'm also going to grab a little one. Possibly this one here, I think. So I'm going to use my Distress ink today, not my Distress oxide. And I've got a clean sponge out to do it. Because I remember Tim Holt saying this in something that I was watching with him, and I've been using the same sponge in both, which is really bad. I shouldn't have done that because, and it's not to do with the colour, it's because of what's in them. So this here is a dye and a pigment ink. So the pigment is what gives it the opaqueness, so it's a lot darker. And this one is just a dye ink, and you can mix the dye ink with the pigment. So if you're using this on here, you can go to your oxide and use it, but you shouldn't go back the other way because you're putting pigment into the dye. This contains both, so I'll have to try and remember that, because I have been a bit willy-nilly in just using my sponge regardless. And I do have things on them. Each of my inks got a little sticky Velcro, and that's the top, so that'll stick on there, because that's the sponge that you get. And regardless if you've got a, you know, those are just the Velcro dots. Just buy them at Spotlight or wherever, and I've got them on every single ink pad on the bottom with their own little sponge on it. But of course I get lazy and don't always change them, so really bad. Although I could probably get away with having like all the greens and all the blues and different ones, you know, one sponge for each instead of having multiples. But don't mix your Distress oxide with your Distress ink, because you're putting the pigment back into your ink and you don't want to do that. Hopefully I haven't ruined it too much. Now these are really, really soft still because they're wet because of the PVA. So I'll have to wait until the others dry, but I really wanted to keep going today to do something. But right now I want to set the eyelet. And again, because I happen to have the tag out, normally I would just eyeball this. I'll go through and I'll make a mark where I'm going to put the eyelets in. So let's do that now. I've got some brown 3/16 of an inch eyelets out, so I need to punch the 3/16 of an inch hole. I don't need the measure because I know where it's going to go. Okay, so I've just pulled out a few things and I'll start putting them on. I think that I want this sort of like that. I'm not really sure, but that's what I think I want. I also have some sari silk that I could lay down on top, and I've got a little bit of green or greenish lace here, so maybe I can use some of that as well. And this is a bit of lace, and I'll put that down on top of the sari silk. Not all of it, just a little piece of it across here, and then chop it off. I've got this little girl as well. She's got a white rabbit in her hand, so I might put her on there, and then I might put a little bit more lace down the bottom here. So because I want them browner, I'm going to use my Distress oxide, and this is the old sponge that I've been using with the oxide, because I know, because this has got the pigment in it that it will turn up much darker than the Distress ink. That's better. I knew I wasn't happy with that ink. It was a bit too light. Sometimes I find the oxide's a bit heavy and a bit too dark, but in this instance I really want to make it quite dark. It's a bit white, isn't it? It's a bit white. I think I need to use the creamy lace. That can go back into the pot, and I'll get some of this creamy lace here. Now I don't know if this is going to rip as well as that one does, but I don't want it that big. Oh yeah, it's fine. Chop this little green bit off the top and pop the birdhouse down like that. And then if I cover most of that up except the birdhouse, I think that's quite sweet. I'll pull it down a little bit. Now I am going to leave it all underneath. I could just use this bit, but I like the bit that's coming out the bottom, so I will leave it on there. That's a bit left from those book covers that I was sewing the other day. So it's all good. Everything comes in handy. So I think I'm done. I do quite like that, and it's something a bit different with the double tag. And I'd like to say thanks to Juni Desiree for the idea with using the file folders and creating multiple tags at once. It's a great idea. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers.